top of her lungs. "You may all come in now." As soon as I walked into the hall, I wrinkled up my nose at the cheesy smell of feet and old shoes. There'd obviously been a PE lesson in the hall that morning. I grabbed a desk right in the middle of the hall and sat down. The sound of chairs being dragged across the wooden floor, the clatter of pens and pencils in polythene bags and pencil cases, worried whispers and subdued coughs filled the air. At last, even those noises died away as everyone settled down in their seats. I had to shuffle for a good minute before I got as comfortable as I was going to get. The chair seats were rock hard. "Right then, who needs a school calculator?" Mrs. Bracken called out. A forest of arms appeared and waved in the air. Mrs. Bracken and Mr. Peterson walked around the hall, each carrying a large cardboard box from which they distributed the calculators. I didn't need one. I had my own calculator, which Dad and Mum had bought me for Christmas. After the calculators were given out, Mrs. Bracken walked up onto the stage and slowly scanned the hall with her beady eyes. Mr. Peterson was still walking up and down, and Mrs. Cannon, my geography teacher, sat in a chair at the side of the hall, reading through the maths paper. Mrs. Bracken turned her attention to the huge clock on the wall, so we all did. Its slow tick-tock echoed in the hall as every second was marked up to 2 o'clock. "You may begin," she said at last. Instantly the hall was alive with the rustle of papers. This term the maths exam covered trigonometry and polygons. I flicked through the exam. Boring, but not too bad. I looked around to see what Gib was doing. I caught sight of him almost immediately. He was staring down at the first page of the 5-page exam. Then he turned to the next page, then the next, and the next. As I watched, he flicked through the exam paper again, hoping no doubt with a second reading the questions would change. They didn't. He slumped in his chair and rested his shiny, perspiring forehead on his hand. He knew and I knew that he was in deep, deep trouble. I couldn't resist a bit of a smirk. Really mean, I know, but he deserved it for being such a pig. I took a quick glance around the hall. Shivy, the egghead, was stuffing 3 peppermints into her mouth at once. She'd probably come out of the hall at the end boasting about how easy the exam had been. She's a real swot and a half, that one. There was Tristan in his new navy blue jacket, which he refused to take off for anyone. I was sure he even slept in it. Then, as I watched, Tristan pushed up his jacket sleeve to read what he'd written on his shirt cuff. I couldn't believe it. If I was going to fail, at least I was going to do it under my own steam. I directed the filthiest look I could at him, then turned away in disgust, hoping he would see me. But everyone was at it. My friend Maggie had her nose buried inside her pencil case, and I could see writing on the inside of the case, even from where I was sitting. I was shocked. I could understand Tristan cheating. He couldn't even write his name without looking on his shirt sleeve first. But Maggie... I felt a sudden strange prickling all over my skin. I looked up, and there was Crackly Bracken, watching me. Hastily, I looked down at my paper and picked up my pen. I didn't want her to think I was cheating. I studied the first question. My trouble was that I could learn the basic rules, but I had some trouble applying them if I didn't think for ages about it first. After a good 5 minutes thinking how I should do question 1, I picked up my calculator. That's when I had a mega brilliant idea. I looked from the exam paper to my calculator and back again. I'm okay at maths, but computing is my subject. If that's not boasting, I think it probably is. And my calculator was programmable. It looked like an ordinary calculator, except the display screen was a little bigger, and I'd written programs on it lots of times before. So why not just write a program to work out interior and exterior angles and lengths and areas and all the other stuff? I had all the necessary functions on my calculator. I could program it without even having to think about it much. Feeling very pleased with myself.